Hey there, Astro people. Good to see you again. Good to be seen. I'm going to do a real quick little diagram on stellar evolution, so I'm going to get right to it. Take out a piece of paper, and I just want to kind of draw a. It's almost like a concept map of the stages of evolution of a star. Okay, so I got a piece of paper here. I got it turned sideways, landscapey style, and we're going to just kind of walk through some of the big steps here. All right. So, first step in the life and death of a star, all right, actually is the death of a really big star. So, there I have perfectly recreated what's called a supernova explosion. Now, we're going to talk about supernovas later in the evolution, so I'm not going to go into the details, but the short and sweet is this. These are really large stars that are so massive they completely blow themselves up. Okay. When they blow up, they leave behind a cloud of gas and dust. Okay. This huge cloud of gas and dust is mainly hydrogen and helium. Those are the two main components. Those are the two main components of the entire universe. After the Big Bang, those were really the only forms of elements in all of the universe, and it was stars that actually lived and died and lived and died that gave us all the other elements. So, and I'm going to say hydrogen and helium and a sprinkle of the rest. And by the rest, I mean the rest of the elements on the periodic table. Okay. Gravity pulls this back together. It begins to spin. It begins to rotate. In the case of our solar system, develops 8 planets in one star. But that's not the case for all star systems. Some star systems have more than one star. They can be what's called a binary star system, where there's 2 stars. And they can even have more than 2 stars in a solar system. Just so happened that our star only got 1, our system. Well, anyways, eventually what's going to happen is the sun or any other star will gather enough matter that fusion will begin. All right. The source of energy for all stars at the beginning is hydrogen fusion. And when the sun or any star begins to fuse hydrogen, it enters into the biggest portion of its life. And that's why my arrow in this particular part of the diagram is so big. Okay. This is when the sun enters into the main sequence. And you might remember that term from the HR diagram we did. The main sequence are stars that are fusing hydrogen into helium. That's their definition. That's what defines a main sequence stars. And in the HR diagram notes, we talked about how different size stars fuse hydrogen at different rates, right? We said the really, really large, massive stars, the hot blue ones, they fuse hydrogen for millions of years, which sounds like a really long time, right? But it's not, because a million years in terms of Earth history is nothing. It's a very short period of time. Okay. And then stars like the sun, I'm going to use an orange, but yellow would probably be more appropriate. These are your average temperature stars. They fuse hydrogen for billions of years. We talked about our sun being an average size star, and it's actually halfway through its hydrogen fusion for burning. So it's a middle-aged average star. And then these relatively cool stars, which are represented by red, because in astronomy, blue is hot and red is not. Doesn't matter what you think about Fat Thor. Just want you to know about that. But the cool stars, we think, and I'm going to actually write that out, we think they fuse hydrogen for trillions of years. We think. And I say we think because our universe is not old enough. We don't know, because we've never seen a low mass star die. All right. We just haven't had enough time in our universe for that to occur yet. All right. We've seen big hot stars die, and we've seen average size stars die, but we've never seen a low mass star die. But mathematically, we think we have a good idea of what happens. But So far, what we've talked about, every single star will go through. Stars will form, gravity will pull them together, they'll go through the main sequence, and eventually they'll get to a point right here where hydrogen runs out in the core. Right? When hydrogen runs out in the core, it enters into the next phase of life. The red giant. Yum. Anyways, the red giant phase. All right. All stars will do this series of events. They'll live, they'll die, and they'll eventually become a red giant. After the red giant is where things get interesting. All right. We're going to have a fork in the road, but we're going to deal with that fork in the next forking video. Okay. And I hope you're forking there. All right. So that was the death of all. So all stars go through that. That's an important piece. Hope you're doing well. Be good. Be safe. Look up and enjoy.